Welcome to a demo for how to make a pattern yourself. You started with a drawing as instructed that left a 1-inch margin around all of the edges. Now you're going to cut it up. So what you're going to see me do here is very carefully take 3 measurements along the long edge of it to find the halfway mark. Since I can only cut it really the one time, I want to be careful to get it right the first time. And that's part of why I'm leaning into the shot here, because otherwise I do not trust my judgment. If you use an X-Acto knife for this, which I personally find more convenient, do be careful not to stab yourself, to keep your thumb out of the range of where you're going to cut. It sounds like I'm being condescending, but really, don't do it. Please, be careful. And you see how I used my index finger? The steadier you can hold the paper as you go, the more accurate your cut will be. Now it's divided in 2 halves, and you are going to swap them. It's a weird feeling. And then you're going to tape them back together. And unlike me, do you have a white tape? Do you have masking tape? Do you have clear tape? Do you have anything except bright blue tape? If so, you will have an easier time of it than I did. But in either case, the main thing you want to do is get these papers shoved as precisely together as you possibly can. You are about to see me get it wrong. Isn't that fun? See that gap? That rude little gap? You don't want that. It's a very good idea to use a tape that is repositionable for this very purpose. If I hadn't burnished it down like I did just a moment ago, this would have been even easier. Do better than me, folks. Your goal is to avoid creating a shadow or allowing there to be a gap where a shadow can happen, because that will show up when you photocopy or otherwise work with this. I'm cutting off any extra pieces of tape here, and then I am once again going to measure the middle of this and cut it right down the middle. You did a beautiful job drawing, and now you get to, this is the one time I'm going to tell you to essentially destroy a drawing of yours, because you're not really destroying it. So again, a minimum of 3 marks. You see how I'm trying to be careful to hold the pencil directly perpendicular to the paper. Let's hope I do that on all 3, because that would be the more accurate way to go about it. What this does is essentially turns your own drawing inside out, and everything that you were so careful to preserve in your first step is now the part that you get to draw inside. There was a reason for that. Okay. This is about when I'm realizing that I feel much more comfortable cutting in a, let's see, in a straight up and down motion rather than side to side, so I have to turn my entire body and walk around the table to make it happen. Still getting used to trying to do demos with a camera and not being able to move my work. I move it a lot more than I thought. Once again, you are going to swap the 2 sides. Like so. This is why I wanted it on video, because every time I try to mime this out with successive slides, there's always one person who's like, wait, you really want me to do that? Yes, I really want you to do that. Again, why the blue painter's tape? I have masking tape. It was just on the other side of the room and I was feeling lazy. You're going to see me regret it. It's something to look forward to. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I do. Yeah, roll your sleeves up. What you see here is the result after I taped my pattern back together and then drew in the margins. The trick is you only draw close to the new edges. You can touch any of your previous drawing, but these new edges are just as important to preserve as the old ones. Now, you notice that the lines still show. I tried lightening and messing with the contrast a little bit, but what I ended up having to do was to apply some whiteout and then draw back over my own drawing. But luckily, since we're only doing contour lines, I have that option. So here is the motif, the one little pattern tile, and we're going to add more and more and more, and they should all line up, because what is lining up is what you drew all in one unit in the first place. You're just essentially taping it back together again. It gets a little overwhelming at this scale, but this is the controlled chaos that you have just created, or in this case that I've created, and it started from one tile.